Hello, guys. Hope you're enjoying Oldwar. Hope you're enjoying life. Hope you're enjoying WoW, because I sure as hell am not. I have had to raid every fucking day this week, and this is the first day that I get off, and now I have to make this fucking video. I don't have fucking time for this shit, okay? I have a life. I go outside. I go to the clubs. I have sex, okay? With girls, mind you, with girls. And often too, I might add. And you guys might think I'm stacking on a cap, but I ain't. Okay, and all of this WoW playing is seriously impeding on all of my sex having that I definitely participate in, and it's kind of a problem. But that's neither here nor there. So Mimiron on a hard mode, 10 man, isn't particularly difficult, although as you probably know by now, phase 2 is the hardest part. And if you play it right, you should be able to 2-heal it. But if you play it wrong, you might need to bring more healers. So let me show you how to play it right so that you can all carry your guilds through this boss and become the ultimate Himbaflex, Giga, Pog Daddy, Sigma Male, Turbo based swag Chad healers that you were always meant to be. Now, if you're a holy priest, you'll want to be using Glyph of Renew, Glyph of Circle of Healing, and Glyph of Prayer of Healing. And if you're playing hybrid, just swap out Glyph of Powered Shield for Glyph of Renew. If you play Disc, just play whatever you normally play. And here are the talents that I used for this fight. Alrighty then, guys, let's start with phase 1. So this phase is pretty easy. All you have to do is Powered Shield the tank before the Swifty one-shot mechanic happens and starts poning his ass. And then you Powered Shield the people that get hit by the fire debuff. The optimal thing to do is to just wait until the person is around 50% health with the fire debuff before you Powered Shield them. That way your co-healer can top them up, or you yourself can heal them to full with penance. That's the most efficient way to go about it, but also this phase is a complete joke, so it doesn't really matter what you do. Just make sure that you have penance on deck to heal the tank through the Swifty one-shot. And the tank will need a cooldown to survive it as well. If you play Holy Priest, just renew everybody with the fire debuff and keep renew on the tank for the entire phase. Then pump your titties off into the tank when he's getting pwned, so just spam flash heal and greater heal, easy peasy. The moment this phase ends, you must not cast any spells because you're going to regen all your mana back with MP5. So just AFK, run over to the wall, clump up together with the rest of your raid, and just make out with each other until the next phase. Your goal in phase 2 is to go from 100% mana to 0% mana through Mana Pot by the end of this phase. So your best bet, if you play Disc, is to start applying shields after your initial round of shields breaks. But once the raid damage is happening, you never want to be in a position where you've got weakened soul on the entire raid, because once that happens, you're fucked. So instead, I would just powered shield spam 7 people, prioritizing the ranged DPS and healers over the melee, and then for the final 3 people, start weaving in other spells. So you would do powered shield into either a penance, greater heal, prayer of healing, or binding heal, and then you could follow that up with prayer mending, because prayer mending isn't really affected by borrowed time. And then you would cast powered shield again into another healing spell, powered shield again into another healing spell, and by that time all of your weakened souls would have fallen off and you can just go back to spamming powered shield again. If you play a holy priest, this phase is very easy for you. Just kind of play exactly the same way you would normally play. You apply renew to the ranged DPS and healers. You prayer mending off cooldown, surge of light for serendipity stacks, and use prayer of healing whenever there's an opportunity to do so. Ideally, you would want to use prayer of healing and circle of healing on the melee DPS or healers, since they're standing close to each other in phase 2. However, keep in mind that the ranged DPS are going to get fucked up on this boss, and they're also spread out 100 miles from each other. So the most important thing is to maintain renew on all of them, and also prioritize your surge of lights on them. And as always, use Divine Hymn when you're scared. If you see that the range DPS are kind of doing it wrong and standing close to each other, that's a good indication that they are about to get fucked up. So just be ready to fucking full send the Divine Hymn very early on in the phase if that's what it takes. Once phase 2 is over, the rest of the fight is easy as shit. You just kind of AFK and get your mana back during the intermissions, and you'll want to play phase 3 as conservative as possible so that you have a full bar of mana going into the last phase where you can just kind of heal your PP off with Shadow Fiend and Hymn of Hope. So I would recommend just, keeping the melee and the tank shielded because they love to get blown up by bombs. And then just kind of let your co-healer keep the Warlock tank alive. If you see that your co-healer is struggling with the damage, then you can just kind of back them up, with like Powered Shield and Penance. Or if you're Holy, you can keep Renew on the Warlock tank and Flash Heal occasionally to help out. Alternatively, you can ask for Innervate like I did and just keep shield on everyone the entire phase. Choice is yours. Phase 4 is where you carry your guild to victory. The Disc Priest strat in this phase is mega easy. You just pre-powered shield everyone and post-powered shield everyone. You shouldn't really need to weave in much other abilities because the damage isn't too high if your guild does it right. If your guild does it wrong and they're all getting hit by Mimiron's cone AoE ability, then you might need to weave in other abilities, so just be ready to do that. For Holy Priest, I would just try to generate as many Serendipity stacks as possible throughout the phase. So you would just Prayer of Healing, Circle of Healing, and then Flash Heal or Binding Heal 3 times, and then repeat. Prayer of Healing, Circle of Healing, Flash Heal 3 times, blah, blah, blah. And then you'd also use Prayer Mending off cooldown, obviously. I would avoid pre-renewing the damage on this boss unless you just have hella mana to work with because the damage is random. So pre-renewing it's not really efficient. But again, if you have the mana to do so, then go ahead. Anyways, that's it. That's my guide. Don't be too scared about this boss. It's not too difficult to heal. But just be aware that priest healers are gods on this boss. So the entire outcome of the fight rests on your shoulders. So heal good. Or else. Bye-bye now.